Alright guys, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a computer game. Oh my god. And this is a long play and review for Superman the Man of Steel on the Amstrad CPC. Released by Tynesoft in 1988, but may have appeared on the Amstrad in around April or May of 1989, because that's when it was reviewed in French magazines, but Amstrad Action claims it was July of 89. Anyway, this is under license from First Star Software, a US company, who produced an earlier Superman game 3 years previous, which was truly dreadful. Will this be any better? But First Star must have still held the Superman license at the time, and they actually still exist today, First Star. Unlike poor old Tynesoft, our friends up in Newcastle in the UK, who went out of business a long time ago. So let's put our undies over our trousers and off we go, with a very nice loading screen here. And thankfully for me, it has a list of the guys and girls involved in making the game there, which we will talk more on later. So I'm going to read you what the back of the box says in a second as this loads up, and unfortunately the Amstrad version is kind of lacking a lot of stuff, which I'll explain in a sec. So here we go. Superman, defeat the parademons to clear your way to the city. Okay, so back of the box time, and it tells us you are the Man of Steel, but don't congratulate yourself just yet. An endless siege of earthquakes and volcanoes are rocking the earth. Terrorists have hijacked a yacht with Lois Lane and the governor on board, and two of your most dangerous enemies have struck an unholy alliance. The clock is ticking, with only hours left to save the world. In Superman the Man of Steel, a computer comic book which allows you at crucial moments to join in the action and become Superman. All of Superman's powers, flight, heat vision, telescopic vision, super strength and super breath, are yours to command. And you will need them as you battle Darkseid's parademons, which we are right now, and Lex Luthor's sinister construction in a pulse-pounding race to stop the destruction of your adopted planet. Superman the Man of Steel takes you into the comic book. Right, two things there very quickly. So something about a hijacked yacht with Lois Lane and the governor on board. That's a level that's completely missing on the, I think, all the 8-bit versions, I think. And it also talks about it being a computer comic book which allows you at crucial moments to join in the action. Well, on the other versions of the game, which we'll talk about later, there's a lot of comic book interludes before levels, which are very, very, very nice and tells the story of the game. But that is completely missing on the Amstrad version, and quite a lot of the other 8-bit versions too. So, okay, so level 1 here. Apparently Professor Corwin of Star Labs gets in touch with Superman to help stop all the natural disasters from happening at the moment. Earthquakes, volcanoes, floods, etc. Superman flies to the city to meet him, but encounters Darkseid's parademons coming out of Darkseid's boom tube, which we've just seen there. Darkseid, I don't really know him. I've never really read the Superman comic books, really. Apparently a staple Superman villain, and his troops are the parademons, which we're fighting here. But we don't actually see or fight Darkseid in the game. And this level kind of plays out like a cross between Afterburner meets Space Harrier. And we're using Superman's like heat vision at the moment to shoot the parademons. And as you can see on the right hand side, we've got 3 demons to kill left, 2 now, and 1 left, and 4 cannons. Now the cannons are the big dudes in a kind of like a blue sort of spaceshipy type thing, and they're quite hard. There's one. Actually, sorry, they fires blue bullets at you. Oh, I've just switched to the super punch there, because I got hit by one of the cannons fireballs or whatever, and if that happens, or you get hit by a kryptonite type weapon, you will temporarily lose your current superpower you are using. It took a bit of working out this game. It's quite confusing, all the different things to keep track of. So you got a weapon energy at the bottom depicted by that bar, and the more you use your super strength, the more it depletes, and you have to wait a bit of time for it to regenerate. Watch out for your energy there at the bottom right, which is at 1,000 at the moment. Keep repeatedly getting hit, and your energy keeps dipping down and down. It will replenish itself. So to die in this level, you'd have to get repeatedly hit over and over and over fairly quickly. So it's quite hard to die on this level, but watch out for the time ticking away there, because the cannons we're having to kill don't spawn that often from the what's it called? Is it the boom tube? Boom tube, right? Yes. So graphically, this looks really nice. Actually, it kind of looks like Superman there. Got nice use of colours. The only problem is the frame rate is really terrible. It's quite laggy and slow, and which makes targeting your enemies with like your little Superman logo crosshair, which is a nice touch, quite difficult. And playing this for the first time, I found it quite confusing, and especially how to target enemies and stuff like that. But eventually, you kind of get used to it. Right, there's one of the cannon guys, and that's what you need to destroy. I'm trying to hit him as best I can, but it's ever so laggy. Oh, he just hit me there, so I've lost my superpower. And these superpowers are shown by those 4 icons in the top right of the screen. So there's an X through my heat vision at the moment, and that will pop back shortly. So I'll switch to using the super punch or whatever it is, which can be quite useful. It does like a sort of a flying punch at speed, but it's quite hard to control and time right due to the lag and all that kind of stuff. So initially it looks quite good, this level, but you'll end up being quite disappointed with the frame rate and performance of it, sadly. And this may go on for a little bit, this level. Although we've only got one more to kill, which would be good. Damn, just got hit again. So yeah, top left icon of the superpowers, the wings there, the angel wings, it just depicts that you flight, and that is always there and on. Oh, we finally defeated it. Brilliant. We can now move on to level 2. Top right is your super breath, bottom right is your flying punch thing, and bottom left is your heat vision that comes out your eyes. And yes, I'll talk more on that in a little bit actually, as we come on to, first of all, come on to level 2. Superman finds Professor Corwin, who needs help getting to Starlab's satellite due to terrible asteroid showers in the area, and protect the shuttle. There we go. So we've got to protect his space shuttle through the asteroids and get him to the satellite, the Starlab's satellite. And this is kind of like a vertically scrolling blasteroids. So yeah, this actually is probably the best level in the game, and this will be repeated I think a couple more times. So basically the background graphics around that, the interface there, who the hell chose like a pink and grey with like red text over pink? That's like, okay, it makes things hard to make out there. So we've got to watch out for Superman's power, which is the first one sort of top right, just below the Superman power icons. Don't let that dip down too much. The more you get hit by rocks and asteroids, the quicker it will deplete. Below that is the energy of the space shuttle, which shows 150 at the moment, now 142 because it got hit by a rock. If that gets to 0, it's game over. And if it is game over, I think you can repeat the same level again and again until you beat it, which is actually quite a nice touch. But this was an absolute nightmare on cassettes with a multi-load. And basically, as well, guys, you've got the time ticking away there in the bottom left corner. Basically, you've just got to survive until the timer reaches 0. So the red rocks are normal asteroids. The green rocks, I believe, are sort of kryptonite rocks, which will really hurt Superman. If you get hit by a red rock, you just lose a bit of your power, which will regenerate fairly quickly. The green rocks will also knock your power, but also disable the current superpower you are using. And if it's the heat vision, which we're using here to clear our way through the asteroid field, it's pretty much game over for that level, because there's no way to clear them off, because the super punch is pretty rubbish at doing it, and also the super breath, Superman's power breath, or whatever you want to call it, is next to useless here as well. Oh, there we go. Time has run out and we've just beaten level 2. So there we go. It's actually a little bit tough, that level, and perhaps I'm making it look a little bit easier than it actually is. So now this is level 3. In fact, we get a different background there for the and layout as well for the icons and distance, time, power and score and all that kind of stuff. Blue background, we can actually probably read it a bit better. Level 3, so we're now at the Star Labs satellite, and just says destroy giant computer. So this is the ADS Star Labs satellite, and the security droids are running amok, thinking Superman and the Professor are threats. Superman needs to take care of the rampant robots and disable the security systems. And actually this feels very much like the coin-op that was released in about 1988 from Taito. So I'm wondering if they had any inspiration from the coin-op when making this game, because that was like a side-scroller like this where Superman can fly and punch and uses heat vision and all that kind of stuff. So really it's just to get through this as quick as possible without losing as much energy as you can. Again, it's a little bit laggy, like the first level. Really nice graphics though, quite a fairly decent sort of Superman sprite as well, but it's not exactly great fun to play. We're just destroying this like force field or whatever it is, just shoot it at the top there. I think you can use your super breath to punch a hole through it and fly through, but it's so laggy, especially responsiveness of the controls, that it's better to just destroy it outright. And you've got a distance meter to the boss at the top right there. Time tick away, but your power is the main concern on this level. It starts off quite high, but now down from about 5,000 odd to around about 3,000. It slowly regenerates, but the more you use, like for example the heat vision, the slower it will take to regenerate. So this is the only place really where the Superman's breath comes in really useful, because it can blow back the bullets and a couple of the robots that spawn as we fight this giant robot computer. And you need to hit him in like basically the top of the head and the eyes. So if you get this position where I am now, it's kind of a bit of a god spot. You can just move slightly up and down to sort of fire your bullets in an up and down fashion to try and match the robot's head. But every now and again 2 little mini robots will appear. I'll get the breath ready, trying to use it. There we go. 2 little mini robots will appear eventually, usually when you first come on the screen, so you want to try and take them out first. And then give you a bit of free rein to blast away at the big robot, but they will eventually reappear. And the annoying thing about this level, guys, is when you get hit, you often get knocked off the edge of the screen, which is really frustrating, but it does give you a little bit of time to recuperate and start over again. So use the Superman's breath, then switch to the heat vision. And your heat vision will also shoot the bullets and fireballs coming out of the robot, clearing your path. Just watch out for the bottom bullet there going under Superman's feet, because you can't really hit that one. And you want to concentrate your firepower on the boss there. As you can see, my power is draining down. It's now below 1,000. And here comes those 2 little robots, which are really annoying, and I get knocked off the screen and lose more power. So I'm now down to like 600 odd. So what I'm going to do, guys, is like you can go to the top left of the screen here and just sort of chill here and let your power increase. As you can see, it's slowly increasing. I'm just getting the super breath ready. Or not. Yeah, one thing that really annoys me about this game is it's annoying switching between your superpowers. for some weird reason, the programmers mapped the key to switch between your super weapons, or whatever you want to call it, superpowers, to the return key on the Amstrad's keyboard, and there's no option to redefine keys. So RIP joystick users. And it's also quite hard to select the power. It either switches too quickly or too slowly at times due to the lag or whatever. And you can often find yourself cycling past the power you actually wanted and ending up getting hurt and hit. Or you're pressing away, it doesn't seem to respond very well. So a bit of a frustrating experience. And also, guys, I forgot to mention, there's no sound effects on this level. No sound effects whatsoever. And even worse than that, which I failed to mention at the start of this long play, when we actually booted the game up, where's the music? Where's the famous John Williams score in the game? And it certainly isn't a licensing issue, because it's present in like the bloody Commodore 64 version and even the BBC Micro version and the Specky version. Although a very crap rendition on the Specky due to the use of the buzzer. Well, actually, no, that's unfair. It's actually pretty decent for a buzzer music on the Specky, and it has been done by David Whittaker. So why they didn't get him to do it on the Amstrad, I don't know. And of course, guys, as mentioned earlier, it's missing all the comic book style cutscenes before the levels. So yeah. I think we'll talk more about the other versions later, but basically the Amstrad and Specky got the short end of the stick here, really. But the Amstrad version certainly isn't the worst version. So yeah, oh, finally destroy that bloody robot, thank God for that. And just fly off the screen there, and we get mission accomplished. And no comic book cutscene. So we're now on to level 4 of 6. I forgot to mention as well how many levels there were. So 6 levels, and this is level 4. Now, with the ADS security system disabled, Professor Corwin notices that the asteroid field is now heading directly towards a satellite. For some reason, some unknown powers have directed it that way, and Superman must now protect it through the oncoming asteroid field. There you go, Superman, protect the satellite. Let's talk quickly about the programmers, because this is very similar to like level 2. I'm assuming that all was done out of house of Tynesoft at a company called Kinetic Designs. You may have seen their logo on the title screen. I can find very, very little about Kinetic Designs. I think they may have only done a very, very few handful of games. But programming was done by Mike Talbot, who also did quite a few games at other companies, like Ball Crazy, Bigfoot, Combat Zone, Shadow Warriors, Storm, and The Fear. And he later went on to work on the original Unreal game. Tim McCarthy, also on programming duties, also went on to work on Unreal with Mike, but he was perhaps most famous for doing the programming duties on BAT, or BAT, on the Amstrad, a brilliant point-and-click graphic adventure, which I will cover at some point on my channel soon. Graphics, which are really, really nice actually, done by Sarah Day, who also did Bigfoot and Combat Zone, also worked on Mike Talbot on those games. And Richard Cheek, who I can only find as doing Superman on the Amstrad. Again, he went on to work on Unreal, also Sleepwalker, and some of the Call of Duty games. So a lot of these people went on to quite good careers. And apparently as well, there's a listing for Doug Thrower as the designer of the game, but I literally cannot find anything about him or anything else he's done. Oh no, I've lost my superpower there. Oh, the breath's useless. Can we survive? Oh, it's just come back, the heat vision. Oh my god, the satellite's on 6 health. We've got 70 seconds left. But can we scrape through this level? At this point of the recording, I was about ready to basically reset, and we just did it. You have triumphed. There we go. So level 5 now. With the satellite safe, Professor Corwin has tracked where all these disturbances are coming from. A giant space station created by Lex Luthor. Yes, Superman's greatest enemy. Superman has to fly in space to the station and breach its defences. So basically this is like kind of a repeat of level 2 and level 4, just that we're not protecting anything, but we now have robots attacking us. And we're going to destroy the space station's shields. Now this plays a little bit faster and smoother without the big sprite at the bottom, but still does chug a little bit. However, it's probably the most fun levels of the game, this vertically scrolling shoot 'em up. Yes, so let's talk about superpowers again very quickly. And now the super breath is mostly useless unless on levels 3 and 6, the side scrolling section, and I'll actually use that more as we come on to the final level in a minute. Super punch again is pretty much useless. It's only really useful in level 1 for getting rid of the cannons, the cannon enemies. So yeah, you're basically stuck using the heat vision pretty much entirely throughout the game. What else to mention? I mean, also though, really, Superman rarely uses his heat vision in the comics or the movies, and it's certainly not used for blasting hundreds of baddies and rocks and stuff. He usually uses his brain, but not here, not in the world of computer games, of course. Oh yes, I should mention as well, those green rocks, when they get, they're kryptonite rocks, and when they get close to you, they make a beeping noise, and that's what you'll hear. And there, that's it. And they'll also like have a green outline appear around them. When that happens, I didn't realise until after the long play that it's they are too close to Superman and they start draining his energy even without hitting him, so that's worth remembering. Now to get through this level, I kind of stick to the far left of the screen as much as possible. I seem to get through it a lot better and just sort of fire away as much as you can in like a spread-like pattern. And again, same on the previous levels of similar sections with level 2 and level 4 as well. Just keep sort of spreading your bullets left and right. So just try and cover as much of the screen as possible with your heat rays. There we go, 80 seconds left. Okay, I'm going to talk very quickly about the other versions before we get to the final level. Actually, we're about to get there now. So we've got to destroy this big giant robot, and then we can destroy the defences on the space centre of Lex Luthor. Other versions, Specky version first of all. Same team behind it, and apparently the graphics were transferred from the Atari ST version, according to an interview I found. So it's probably the same for the Amstrad version too. As I said earlier, it also has music from David Whittaker, although it's only on the buzzer. Doesn't sound particularly good, but very good for buzzer music. It has a similarly poor frame rate, and it even actually has a smaller playing area than the Amstrad. Graphically not as nice, but the sprites are actually quite well designed on level 1. I quite like the look of them. And levels 3 and 6 inside the satellite and space station, the side scrolling bit, it's really slow, and actually the Specky version is missing the giant robot boss at the end, although I quite like the larger Superman sprite. So he's got the same basic presentation, buzzer sound effects, but ultimately actually I think probably the Specky version, alongside possibly the BBC Micro, maybe the MSX one, because I've not seen that one, may well be the worst version. So that isn't, so at least the Amstrad version isn't the worst. Now the Commodore 64 version has music and has an awesome rendition of the classic Superman theme from John Williams. It has the comic book cutscenes. It's nice, fast and smooth, and it does pay me to say this, but I have to be honest, it is infinitely better than the Amstrad and Specky version. I mean, even the third level scrolls, the side-scrolling thing there. Although the boss here, the space station, looks quite impressive on the Amstrad. This level coming up to, it actually scrolls on the Commodore 64 version, as does level 3. And here we are, we're going to be inside the space station. Superman has to get past all the robot defences and destroy the supercomputer at the core of it. But on the Commodore 64 version, level 1 has been simplified by having no horizontal, vertical sort of scrolling and no trees, but it looks just as good and it plays a lot better for it, to be honest with you. And the level we just played, level 5, is different, with Superman already at the space station outside trying to shoot at it and breach its defences. Perhaps not as good as the Specky and Amstrad's level 5. But it's far better presented, the Commodore version, with it actually telling the story between levels, comic book style, and it's also nice to have the Superman logo shown between levels. But these levels 3 and 6, are just as frustrating on the Commodore version as it is on the Amstrad. Now here's a little tip there: use the super breath there to get rid of that robot, because he's very, very annoying trying to fly under that girder and get past him. I didn't realise that on the first time playing through level 3, this is just basically a rip-off of and repeat of. Quickly, the other versions, more versions. BBC Micro, I've only actually played level 1. It has absolutely terrible graphics, but does play smooth. However, it's a tiny screen and nothing really going on in terms of scrolling either on level 1. And it was made in-house by Tynesoft, I believe by Kevin Blake, and actually has quite a lovely intro with an okay rendition of the Superman theme. But there we go. Apple II got a port of the BBC Micro version, but we're unsure if this was ever released, and if it was released, it would have been released in the US. The MSX version, can't find any video footage or even screenshots of this anywhere. Presumably it'll be a Specky port. And then lastly, PC, Amiga and Atari ST, 16 bits. The SD version, very similar to the Commodore 64 in terms of presentation, obviously nicer looking, but weirdly kind of slowly paced, and has iffy collision detection. But the different superpowers are far more useful on the side scrolling sections, and it actually includes the Rescue Lewis Lane level on the boat, which is missing on the 8-bit versions. Otherwise it's fairly poor and not fun. Average to poor reviews at the time, and the Amiga looks like the Atari ST, and it's probably an Atari ST port, but with nicer music and ever so slightly smoother in places. PC version, awful music, the usual pinky CGA graphics. Gameplay wise, it's smooth and feels like the C64 version and mixed with the Specky version. There we go. This, if you haven't already gathered, guys, is basically the final boss. It's a repeat of the robot boss from level 3, and use the same tactics there. Switch to the Superman super breath there to blow back enemies and bullets. Give yourself a breathing room and find the god spot there, and just keep blasting away with the heat vision to the top of the robot's head. Perhaps what I should have said, actually, start off a little bit higher up in the level and let the other robots spawn above you, so you can move down and then and then you'll be firing bullets towards the robot's head already and destroying its bullets. That'll make it a little bit easier. So if you get knocked off the screen, come back on the screen about 2/3 up and then work your way down to the robot, but be ready with the super breath. This took a lot of working out. Oh, there we go, guys, we've finally blown it up and destroyed it. And this, guys, should be the end of the game. Mission accomplished. And here's the ending screen. Congratulations, evil is vanquished, the Earth is saved. And there's our final score of 28,000 points, 28,779 points. And actually quite a nice ending screen there, but sadly lacking. We don't get the comic book style ending and interludes and stuff like that, and presentation of the Commodore 64 version and the 16-bit versions. The Amstrad version certainly isn't the worst version, as I mentioned earlier. And review scores at the time, this was reviewed in the July 1989 issue of Amstrad Action. I believe there's issue 46. AA gave it an overall score of 63%, noting that, if not super, then at least above average, man. Yeah, I kind of agree with their score. I need to give a review score now. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 as well. Roughly about the same score, really. It was kind of okay. It does feel like a Superman game. You've got his superpowers, there's a nice mix of levels, but I think they're probably overly ambitious and probably run out of time in improving the frame rate and all that kind of stuff. Nice graphics, very limited sound effects, unforgivable for missing out the music, horrible loading on the tape version. Not a fun experience, but a valiant attempt nonetheless, and probably one of the better Tynesoft games. So there we go, guys. Thank you for watching. Please click like, subscribe, click the bell as well to get all notifications, and don't forget live streams every Friday. And yeah, alright guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Cheers. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please click a like below, leave a comment, and also subscribe if you haven't already. And over that way, there's another video for you to check out. Zypho, out.